Hello, everyone. Welcome back to my channel. I know it's been ages. It's been a long time since I was here. Um, but to be fair, I've been really busy. That's the truth. I've been traveling. I switched jobs. I switched apartments. If you notice, I'm like in a new place. This is a new background. I'm in a new apartment. Um, a lot has been going on pretty much. But today I finally made out time to bring something that I think you would like. And that is one, I think a few days ago, I was asking, what is the fastest way to add search functionalities to a documentation site? Like what's the fastest way? If, for instance, you're building a website today or you're building a doc site and you just want people to be able to quickly search through a data source and get some kind of result, how best do you do that? And I got only one response, which was weird because normally tech people, they would jump on it and talk about all sorts of things. So kind of like raised my curiosity, and I went ahead and found out about this tool called Meilisearch, which is kind of like, it fits the criteria of what I was asking about. So I played around with it and I built this demo. I already have like a movies data source behind this UI. So if I try to search for like Avengers, I get like real-time data feedback coming from Meilisearch giving me results as I type, which I think is pretty neat. There's a lot more things we can talk about here, but this is what I want to show you how to do today. So you can imagine this site to be your documentation site, and all this data is coming from your content, and you're like showing results as people type and all that. Something I really also like is the ease of integration. So I don't know, and I don't want to guess how long this will take us to do, but let's see how quickly we can rebuild this site using Meilisearch. So let's get started. The first thing I want to do is check the documentation. They have a pretty good getting started docs page that you can visit to see some of the installation guides and how to get started with it. So if you haven't, if you want to try it out the first time, I think this quick start is very helpful. So basically just run this command and then run Meilisearch. Actually, let me do it so that I guess we just do everything right away instead of just telling you to do them yourself. If I can find my terminal where that is, let me bring that in here. Let me just make it a little bit smaller. Okay, I'm in the desktop, so let's make a new directory here. mtest, for lack of a better directory name. Let's get into mtest. And then let's do this. Basically just to install Meilisearch. Right, if you, once that's done, all we need to do is basically just run the Meilisearch executable and we would have Meilisearch running. Okay, takes a couple minutes, well, a couple seconds, but that's done. So next, I will run the Meilisearch executable like this. And it very often runs on, let me find the port. I think it's here, this one. Let me copy that to the browser, just to show you what it looks like. Welcome to Meilisearch mini dashboard. So basically this is what it will look like. So when you create indexes or when you add data to this, you will see that data show up here. Let's head back to the documentation. So we are all set up. The next thing you want to do is basically add documents, right? They do have this movies.json file that you can download. I kind of already downloaded that, but let me just do that again for the purposes of this. And then when you run the call command again, you want to be sure that the movies.json file is in the same root where you're running your call command from. So right now, I'm going to stop Meilisearch from running, and I'm going to open this up in VS Code. And now I see that I've got data.ms, DOMs, and Meilisearch. Okay, great. So what I want to do is bring in the file that the movies.json file that I just downloaded. And there you go. We now have movies.json, which is just a JSON file that has all sorts of movies in it. Okay, so now that I've done that, we can go ahead and run that command, which we can find right here. Actually, let me just make this full screen just to give ourselves more room. So basically what this command is going to do is basically just make a post request to this base URL, which is the one that we've got running here in this mini dashboard, right? And then it's going to post to the indexes endpoint. And this is going to be the name of the index, which is movies. So if the movies index already exists, it's going to post the documents into that index. If it doesn't exist, it's going to create it for you by default. And then you just here setting the primary key to be ID. Content type is application.json, and then this is how we set the data that we're pushing. So let's copy that, and then I will come back to the terminal and paste that in. Failed to connect. Okay, I think, oh yes, I'm not running the Meilisearch instance again, so let's do that. Now that's running, so let me make a new window, well, a new tab. And now let's run that call command again. Exactly, and now we've got a task UID that we can poll to get the status of this API request. And just to show you that that is in fact the case, and this is how we do it. So let's take this command and come back to the terminal and run that. And now we see that the status is succeeded, which means we were able to add that data successfully. So if we come back to our Meilisearch dashboard and refresh, we now see some kind of data visualization of all the JSON file, of all the data in the JSON file that we've just added to our Meilisearch instance. Great. So we have data coming through. I think that's done. Something else you can do is you can search for the data, you can get results, search preview, and all sorts of things. But let's, I think that's the initial part. We've set up Meilisearch, we've added data, we're sure that we have data in our Meilisearch instance. So let's go ahead and build and connect the front end to it. Let's build a React Next.js application that will take this data and do something with it. Okay. I think while we're here, let's just do npx create next app. Let's call that app test app, right? Let's do that. Awesome. Now that we've got the Next.js application, I think the next thing we want to do is basically just get into that app. Test app, that's the one. And the first thing I want to do is install the Meilisearch JavaScript SDK, which is what we're going to use to build out the front end part of this application. And it's available here. I'll put the link in the description, github.com, Meilisearch and Meilisearch.js. And this is what we need to do, basically run this npm install command. And let's do that here. And this will install Meilisearch into this Next.js project. And let me actually open it up in VS Code and just do a little bit of cleanup. So that demo that I showed you at the beginning, this demo that I've got here, I'll just copy the styles that I used for this and put it over in our new application. So let's do this, clean this one out. And then I will paste in the new styles that I've copied here, save that. For the index.js file, I'm going to do a couple of things here. Actually, let me just get that as well. Saves me the stress of having to type out all that code. I'm going to just explain what's going on here. So this is how we initialize Meilisearch. And let me just show you that this is also in the documentation is basically this. So we import Meilisearch from that package we installed and we initialize it like this, which is precisely what I'm doing here on line 8 to 10, except for the API key because I'm not trying to protect this. I'm just doing a demo. If you're building this for production, you need to specify your API key. And then I create a search function here, which is basically taking that client, going into the index that we've called movies. So it's going to search on the movies index, and it's going to search for the term that I'm passing in here, which I will show you in a bit. And when I get the result from that, I will update my set search results variable with that new result that is coming from Meilisearch. Great. Okay, for our markup, I've got the Meilisearch demo going on. Here is the input. The input basically represents this. Where is it? This input, basically this one, where you type in your search text. And then when you start typing in there, which is when the onChange function is going to get called, then I call the search movie function that I defined above here, and I pass in the text that I'm typing. What else? And when we get the results, then we loop through each of those results and display an image that will show the banner of the poster of each movie that we get back as a response. And then below it, we show the title of the movie and a little bit of an overview. And then we've got this footer. And that's it. That's pretty much it, which is what you can see here. So for each of the results, we show the poster and the title and something about the overview of that movie. So I'm going to save this. And let me just double check that my Meilisearch instance is still running. It is. And then I'm going to run this project. So let's do npm run dev. Running in port 301 because the initial one is running on 3000, which makes sense. So here I will go to localhost 3001 and I see this, right? So let's search for Avengers again. Avengers, and we are getting the same exact result. Fantastic, right? All right, so something else I'd like to show you is how to handle, how to kind of like pass in request parameters to Meilisearch as you're trying to search. So here, let me close this out and open this a little bit. So here, inside the search function, when you specify the thing you want to search for, you can pass in another parameter here, which will be an object that will take in a few properties here. First is the limit, and this will determine how many results you get back, right? So in this case, before I save this, let's see, I'm getting 3, 6, I'm getting 12. So a total of 20 results, right? Coming back from Meilisearch. So if I save this, I'm able to limit that result to just 10. So let me reload this and then search for Avengers again. Now, instead of 20, I'm just going to get 10 results coming back. And that is something you do just by specifying that. They also have this thing called an offset, which kind of like allows you to jump a certain number of items from the result that got returned. Say, for instance, I don't want to see the first 10 results. I want to see the subsequent ones. I can set an offset here that would, okay, let's say 5. So basically, I'm skipping the first 5 results that come back from the API, and it's going to show me the next 10. So let's save that, and I'll reload the page and type Avengers. And you see, okay, let's look at the other demo. Where is it? You see that we don't see this 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. These first 5 results are no longer showing in the new demo. And that is because of the offsets that we've set. So it will skip the first 5 results and show you the next. So this is very important for when you want to build an application that has like a next button or a previous button. Like you can leverage the offsets to kind of like skip some that you've already seen and get to the next page that will show you some more results. Okay, I think that's it. That's it for the scope of the project. I'm happy to dive into this a little bit more and just like talk about the kind of things you can do with it and some of its features and functionalities. But yeah, let me know if you like this or if you're like really interested in Meilisearch. I can do a deeper dive to basically show you how to use it and do more things. The things that we've done here is basically just use the terminal to populate data into our Meilisearch instance, which is running on this port. And inside this Next.js app, what we're doing is basically make search requests by just leveraging the front end. Where is it? The front end JavaScript SDK to do a couple of things like searching movies index that we've created and just getting back some responses and showing it on screen. But I'm happy to dive into this a little bit deeper for you guys if you are interested in learning more about Meilisearch. Thank you. This is what I wanted to show you for today and look forward to seeing you in the next one.